necesito más. Te crees mucho, lo sé. Obvio que te digo, sé. Pero hay más en Instagram. Si tú no quieres beber, tengo fila hasta 3. No te necesito más. Te crees mucho, lo sé. Obvio que te digo, sé. Pero hay más en Instagram. Te crees mujer de lo que eres, pero en el mundo lo que a mujeres me la creía. Hasta ese día que me engañaste, ¿qué más?
Reciclaba amores y estabas tú. Te necesitaba, ya no fueron tan.
You want it though? Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard the scammer had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merch. 6 figures was a gold, now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve. No time for the snakes, time to put them in the dirt. That's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, out of nosebleeds. Yeah, I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard these scammer had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. And through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, same circle to the same gang. We just get to it, we don't gangbang. Lost some friends to the same thing. Keep a low pro when we maintain. Find us in a lost somewhere, kicking back. Find you on computers, type it Twitter facts.
Hey guys, you know it's Saturday. You know what it is. It's time to get your money right with the Finance Squad. And you guys have to know, if it's Saturday and I'm here, especially because it's my birthday, you must know I love these guys, right? So first, I just want to say happy birthday to myself. 52 is a big step. Well, maybe it's a baby step. Let's count it as a baby one because I'm still feeling like I'm a baby. Okay, so let's get this conversation started. I don't think it's a baby step, though, in regards to me getting my money right. I think if I'm a little bit behind at 52, we'll hear what the guys have to say. Of course, you know, we got Forrest. Forrest, don't talk about me not having my money right at 52.
Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep it young and right. We're going to see what happens. All right, what's going on, Santana?
What's going on, Christine?
Well, I'm waiting for y'all to tell me at 52, is it too late for me to get my money right?
It's never too late.
Never too late.
Okay, that's a shout out to all of y'all that's 52 and don't have y'all money right. It's still not too late. You know, last week, I'm going to tell you, I think I watched the video maybe 2 times. And so for me, like I watch it, you know, of course, when it's live, and folks, this is pre-recorded. But the thing is, I do watch it. And I had to go back through to kind of look at what I was applying to my life in this different steps. So, you know, we left one of the questions out because we all agreed like it's a bigger conversation, right? Correct. That we needed to have. And so when you're having that bigger conversation, it's like you need to kind of walk through those steps, because I know a lot of people are not looking at the difference between the vision and the destination, right? And having clarity. So folks, our conversation tonight is, what is the impact on your financial stability and future when you have a clear vision of your destination? That's what this entire conversation is about. These guys are going to walk you through step by step to make sure you understand the difference between reality and virtual reality. I'm just going to call it the VR lens on life. Some of us have a VR lens on it, but we're going to talk through that. So guys, before we even get into the breakdown in segments 2, 3, and 4, can we just kind of talk about holistically what each of you feel like this perspective looks like for individuals? What does this look like? Mordecai Santana, who's stepping up to the bat?
Go ahead, Santana.
Well, I was thinking Mordecai. I mean, the lens of a pastor on vision. I mean, they can. I mean, we giving him a layup. We throwing a softball up for Mordecai. I don't know if we have enough time for this segment.
I don't know.
Since you were absent last week, we're gonna let you get started.
There you go. There you go. That's how much we missed you. We're gonna let you go first.
We're gonna warm you up.
I'm gonna throw it out here, and I am just glad to be a part of the finance squad, Christine. And but vision, you know, they say without a vision, people cast off restraint. That's one interpretation. That when there is no end game, there's no goal that is bigger than yourself, then you live your present moments without any restraint, without any type of integrity, any type of perspective, right? And so you do things that are not fruitful for the moment nor for the future. And so, you know, God sends us here, not just for ourselves, but for those who come behind us, those who are around us. And so it's important that, you know, we see our financial resources as really the means to set up the next generation. So we have to have a vision that is not just for ourselves, but also for those who are coming behind us and those who are living around us. We call it building up the beloved community. Who is in your beloved community that you feel accountable to, that if you rise up and they don't rise up, you've still failed, that we must rise up together. And so, you know, one of the things that, you know, we always talk about is a vision is the end game in terms of like, how will the world be different, right? What impact will you have made by being here? How will the world be different? So how can I invest these resources in such a way that when I'm gone, someone would clearly say he or she made an indelible impact because of their vision? And I think that's where we need to begin to focus our attention, especially in the upcoming rebuilding, reinvention of our economy. So I'm gonna throw that back to the guys, man, because I could talk about that all day long.
You know what, Mordecai? If you didn't take that, that pastoral perspective on this, did he not? Like, I feel like I was
set up. It was a setup.
He just took a whole pastoral perspective on this whole thing. I love it though. I like how your financial mind kind of melts it with your faith, right?
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate that, because to me, that is the balance. That is the infrastructure, right? Yes. And I think that's just, you know, so when you do it, it just cracks me up. You know, we're gonna leave Forrest for last. So Santana, I'm coming to you. What you got?
Well, you know, vision, it becomes that thing that some would say it comes that thing that you never really achieve, but you're always striving for. Take, for example, you know, we have this vision for our company to kind of eradicate the financial literacy deficit in our culture. That is such a big and enormous task to take on, because can you really touch every single person in the world and address their deficit in the area of finance? The answer is no. But can you take a strong swing at it? The answer is yes. And will this be here after we're gone or retired? Yes. So, you know, part B of what is always told me is vision should outlast you. That when you're said and gone, that vision can still be achieved by the next generation. Or, you know, when a corporation, when the CEO retires or that previous generation passes away, the vision for Ford or another company is still living and still trying to be achieved. So a vision should be big enough that it's not achieved in your lifetime. That's what I believe in. And you should be bad enough, trust God enough to put it out there and keep swinging for the fences till the next generation can come along and start swinging for the fences.
Okay, I feel like I'm still in the pulpit. I feel like I'm in the pulpit. So of course, bring it on home. You in the pulpit. We already knew you in the pulpit.
Well, I am a deacon.
Uh-oh.
So I'm gonna make it personal, right? Vision for me is the gasoline that fuels my engine, or the gasoline that fuels me. It is who and why I am. It does live on beyond you. And I think other folk can feed on it, not off of it. Because my dream is, we're using the word vision. You can also insert the word dream. My dreams are my dreams. And I believe these are what the Holy Spirit has revealed to me. I put an action plan together to make those things come to pass. And we all have them. The Lord has given everybody a clear, and I believe, a clear vision as to what it is that they're good at, and what he wants them to do, and even more specifically, how he wants them to do it. We share those dreams with other folks, and sometimes it gets crushed before it even gets started. It's not their dream, it's yours. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't talk to somebody, and I think you should, but you need to do your due diligence and be very careful about who you share that with. There's a scripture about casting pearls amongst swine, and I'm not trying to denigrate anybody, but I can't tell you how many times visions and dreams that I've had for me in my life were squelched by folks whom lived in the same house with me, not because they were trying to do me harm, or not because they were hating on me, because it wasn't their vision. It wasn't their dream. It was mine. I've had conversations with my children about, if you could do anything in the world, and I don't care how crazy it sounds, what would it be? Encouraging them to tap into that part of their brain that helps them dream, that helps them go after these visions, and then set goals to them. So for me, it's the gasoline that fuels my engine. And I'm living proof that you can get to where that thing you see in your mind, you can get to that place.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. I'm sorry, Mordecai. I'm glad you said that, because I think a lot of times people don't understand there's a roadmap.
Yeah.
Right. Regardless of what it is. So when our viewers are looking at this and you guys are talking about financial stability, it's financial stability. That's the initial step. So my question to you guys collectively is this: if a person is not financially stable right now, how do they even get to the concept or the idea of getting to that vision, that dream, that concept, and then getting to that destination when their personal finances, because you may be thinking, I want to start a business, but your personal stuff is not tight. What's the first thing? Go ahead.
Well, I think we should roll into a commercial, and I believe that Christine should lead off on that. I think she should answer her own question. I think she should answer her own question. Yeah, because I think you're appropriate for the moment. I mean, if you speak from the perspective of the 5 F's, and just sometimes the listeners need to hear your journey.
That's right.
And I think it's somebody out in the audience that will be blessed from your testimony on your birthday. I
agree with Santana. You've shared with us your walk. You've shared with us your journey. And your journey is the answer to the question that you just put out.
Yes. And the audience needs to hear it.
They need to know, and they need to know that success is the product of the process.
Yeah.
It's not just the destination.
It is.
It's the process, right? And that is the hard part, because we all see the end goal. Like we can all have a vision, but are you committed to the process? Right? And that process is different for everyone, right? So this is what you want to do, but that requires a different process, personally, professionally, relationally, spiritually. Like there's 6 different areas you got to get yourself together. So, I agree with Santana that, we rolled a commercial, and
we're looking forward to Christine.
We come back and we talk about the 5 F's and the process of how you get 3 guys on here talking about financial stability, right? Because it's the process. And that's the stories that people don't want to talk about, is when you had to dig your own trench and you had to do your own trench work. Did nobody dig the trench for you, right? And so we think you got to have all this knowledge and you don't have to have all this knowledge, but you do have to have a commitment to the process.
Correct.
So that's what I'm interested in hearing.
So, Christine, I can't wait to hear you after commercial. We are so excited on your birthday that it's an entrepreneur that's sitting there listening to this podcast, and that you're going to give them that encouraging word that they go pursue it.
That's right. I'm so excited. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yes.
You know what, guys? And on that note, I am going to commercial break because I just want to say Forrest never mutes himself. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
My name is Christine Burkett, the inventor of the 5 F's to Love. This is a compatibility app. It's an app that gives you an opportunity to rate words that start with the letter F in chronological order of importance to you, to help you find your one true love, your soulmate, and the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So after you've taken the time to rate your F's in chronological order, you send a link to the person, I don't know, you just met, or the person you've been dating for quite some time. Or maybe it's the person you've been married to for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And then you compare your top 5 F's to find out what things you have in common and things that you may perhaps need to work on. This is taking a simplistic perspective on how to find your one true love, your soulmate, the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And thank you for downloading the 5 F's app.
Hey guys, welcome back. And you know it's Saturday because we're with the Finance Guy. We got Mordecai, Forrest, and Santana. The Finance Squad, you guys are a bunch of experts that everyone needs to listen to every Saturday or any day. You can watch us on our YouTube channel and watch them as many times as you want. But make sure you have your notebook ready and you are ready to work to get your finances right. So when we left off, they were all persuading me to come back after commercial break to kind of walk you through my journey. And it's so funny because I do this podcast and I speak all over the country. And it's so funny when I have to talk about myself, I feel so uncomfortable, like intensely uncomfortable, right? And it's just so funny that happens. But I will give you guys just a high level overview that I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. I thought I would always work for a company, either in a role as a chemist, and then later in technology. And I thought that's what I would be doing. And I would just work for a company and retire when I'm 65 or 70 or whenever I feel like stop working. But what happened is I saw a need. And when I saw that need, I created a company called PICF, which is Promising Integrations Consulting Firm. And the whole need was I was working in education as a science teacher, and they were looking for vendors to provide after school programs in STEM tech. And so that's where the company got started. It was just an after school program where I would kind of walk students through math and science and get them excited about building robots and, you know, doing experiments. And that was just my thing because I love science. And from that, I realized it wasn't just that, you know, being in a classroom. Again, folks, let me just be clear. I didn't go to school to be a teacher. So I didn't understand curriculum. I understood this is what we were teaching when I was in a real job as a chemist. So this is what we need to be teaching in the classroom for them to go to college. That book didn't matter to me. So I used the book as an outline, a parameter, but I was really teaching real world applications. And then I went to school and got my second master's. My second one in curriculum and instruction, because I felt that it was important that I be educated because I wasn't an educator. And then I got my certification to be a school administrator, like a superintendent or a principal, because I wanted to understand school administration. So the short end to that, folks, is that I started my first company based out of need and became a passion. And I continue to grow that company. So we went from being a after school program to now an IT consulting firm. And that's what we do, not just for K-12, we do it for small businesses, for governments, municipalities, everything from healthcare to clothing stores. We support those. And I'm really excited. We do everything from cybersecurity to wiring buildings, to apps, websites. We do all of that kind of stuff. And we have fun doing it. The company 5Fs came out of, and I know everybody's going to start laughing, because I have a communication issue when it comes to personal one-on-one.
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
hilarious.
So I thought the best way for me to find out if someone was compatible with me, because I am an introvert, socially and network wise, I'm an extrovert. I can talk about anything, but personal one-on-one, my friend Matt constantly tells me I can't close the deal. I don't know how to transfer people from a network business to a potential candidate in my life. I don't know how to do that. So I created this app called the 5Fs to Love. You guys just saw the commercial. So I thought I would use technology to help me find the person most compatible with me. And I didn't have to really talk to them, right? And then from that, 5S grew to a podcast. And the reason why the brand went from being a compatibility app to this was that I realized in my African-American community, we weren't being represented in positive ways when it came to relationships and all the different components.
Yeah.
I saw that we were getting a lot of views when it's negative. And a lot of things that were being portrayed on TV was, I don't know any gangbangers. I didn't grow up knowing any. So why am I always watching us as drug dealers and the mama who got 5 kids who running down Chico? That's not how I grew up. I grew up in middle class. So I didn't have that environment. So I kept saying, well, why are we always being represented this way? So I started off with a live podcast, and my best friend, Reggie Dillard from college, flew in from Delaware to do it with me every Friday.
Wow.
And that's how I started this podcast. And then I realized it was much more than relationship. You can't have a relationship unless you have good finances, right? Because it's always going to come to that. And then I needed the female's perspective and the male's perspective. And then I needed a guru who talked about metaphysics. And then I needed somebody for this. And then that's how this cast grew to 21 cast members on this platform, which I'm really excited. And I love everybody for being a part of my dream and my vision in this concept, because folks, it started out from nothing. So now we have a card game. We have a 5Fs to Love conference that we will be launching and coming out, where you guys can see all of these people live, plus other people who are in the relationship industry. And we have a dating app and a catfish app.
Wow.
Will be launched. So my thing is, I merged techie with relationships to help people, but I also wanted to live through a concept, and it was just a vision. Literally, it was a vision that now is reality. And the reason why they're having me tell you guys this high level overview of my little life right now is because I emptied out my 401k to do this. That's how I started both of the companies, and I emptied it out. And now at 52, I'm starting over with savings. But it's not that I'm not making money from the company. I keep the company separate from me. My income from that is fine, but I don't make as much as I should because I have staff, and then I have other things that I'm responsible for. So these guys, when I told them that, my job is to bring in a much larger contract through my third company, which is Michigan Youth STEM Tech Aeronautics, which is a nonprofit, that these guys collectively will help me manage that fund. And we're going to be bringing something major, not only to the state of Michigan, but to other states as well. That's going to help our kids understand the back end of esports, everything from graphic design to production, to being a competitive esports player, all of those different things. So I'm really excited. And that's the reason why they have me tell you a story, because I did take something that was a concept or a thought, and I made it reality. It's a lot of hard work. It wasn't easy. It still isn't easy. And I work literally, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's 24 hours in a day. I'm probably working about 19 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the truth. So that's the reason. So that's the high level, everybody, of how I got here. And don't even ask me, did I find anybody using my compatibility app? That's getting too personal. And let's not do it. This is the finance squad. And that's the end. Para.
Well, you know, I'm going to say congratulations. I think one of the, you know, in this particular podcast, it's hard not to get very spiritual. It's a real song. It is a tiptoeing amongst the tulips on this, because first thing is, most of the time a vision, I think all the persons on this would is a God inspired. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, we're finance squad-izing this moment. There's that if the truth is told, your vision is birthed out of pain. You know, I was once told wherever your greatest struggle is probably where your vision is going to come from.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're sensitive to that need. You now see, I'm trying to walk it tight, but when you're talking about vision, because a vision has to drive you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you've seen yourself without something,
yeah,
you don't want, if you have a heart, you don't want people to feel what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So Christine, you're saying that because I had a compatibility issue,
yeah,
I now want to solve that problem for other people.
Yes.
And so, you know, with vision comes provision. So what happens normally is that as an entrepreneur, you jump out there, you should, if it's really a calling, you'll put your resources into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at some point, a person notice your excellence.
Yeah.
They notice your passion, your desire, and they begin to partner with you.
Yes.
That's how this thing normally works. So
yes,
we can't. Yeah, I don't think nobody on this. I mean, we could come here and say, you know, I was just sitting one day and I saw this commercial and I said, that's going to be my vision. And that would be so inauthentic because at the end of the day, vision is inspired 99% by God.
yes,
And so when you're, you know, from a spiritual religious perspective, those that have been blessed to be, you know, successful in their own right, the money came after the vision came.
yes.
Correct.
So
Yes.
how all this ties together is get your vision first.
Yeah.
Don't be scared, you know, like the widower who put all that she had, and then, you know, the barrel will keep serving you. The barrel, if you keep dipping, if it's your vision, God is not going to let you go under. And that's for the persons that are listening intently to this. I know we're veering on this particular podcast, but sooner or later we had to let God take over on one of them. This for those that are without. You're not without, because if you tap into your vision, the money will come with it. And so stop looking at what you don't have and look at what you do have and what you're created to do. And then the resources will come with it.
Yeah, I think
Cynthia, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mordecai, what you about to say?
I just think it's interesting that, again, I want to echo that, you know, they say the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery. Because there's so many books that never got written and businesses that never got started, ideas that never found legs. And so our culture teaches us that your vision is nothing if you don't have the liquidity or you don't have the finances. And we're saying today that your vision comes first.
Yes.
And I like what Santana said about partnering. So you started an after school program, which means presumably you didn't have overhead. You didn't have to pay the school an exuberant amount for the after school program, right? When I started our ministry, I went to the university, started and had students sign a petition, asked them what was the thing that they were passionate about that they wanted to change, and they started a student organization called Vision.
Wow.
And I did everything for free for 3 or 4 years because I did it on the campus. I'm like, why would we pay for a facility when we could take our resources and put it into people?
Right.
So we started and we went from this classroom to that classroom, this ballroom to this hall, to this hall, to this hall. And people were like, well, you know, you don't have a legitimate, you know, business or a legitimate ministry. And it's like, well, what's legitimate? Because I don't have a facility, right? And so your vision, you've got to be willing to fight for your vision. People want you to morph your vision into something they can conceive or create. And you got to fight for that vision. If it looks crazy, it defies all the rules. Like you said, I don't know nothing about curriculum, but I do know this is what they need to know when they get a job in this field.
That's right.
So I just think that it's important that everyone listening, you know, that you grab a hold to a big ball of boldness, and don't let anybody intimidate you on stepping out on your vision.
I love that. Thank you, Mordecai.
Excuse me.
Forrest, you still on mute.
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm waiting for you because you know you're the closer. I need what's happening?
Hey, so like I said, your vision was the fuel that powered your engine, and you were the engine. Period. I second what Santana was saying, and to touch on a little bit about what Mordecai was just saying. People approached you because they didn't catch the same vision or receive the same vision that you received, but the Lord wasn't talking to them. He was talking to you. And because your ideals they couldn't connect the dots in their mind about how this was going to work. So like they told Mordecai, well, you don't have a church. You know, you're going from one location to the next location. Where 2 or 3 of us gather together and start talking about me, I believe that's church.
That's all you need.
What the Lord, what he showed you, what you grabbed a hold to, is what fueled you into driving the process to where you are today. And I'm going to step out on a limb and go so far as to say, you're not done. This is just the beginning of where he's taking you, or where this is going to take itself. You know, I've talked to a lot of wealthy people, and Santana said earlier, the income, the money, the revenue is a byproduct of the service that you provide, or the energy that you put into what it is you're trying to do. And you will reap what you sow. Period.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say this. I was talking to my mentor today, and he was giving me some consulting, and he said something at the end of the conversation. He says that, you know, and it ties into vision, that you need people around you that are going to be value creators, or value protectors, or value optimization people. And out of those 3 value spectrums, your vision just starts to explode. I mean, because you could be a value creator. You just service people at a high level.
Right.
And out of that, so many other opportunities come.
Yeah.
You know, that it just, and then, you know, and this ties into what we're doing today, your value protector, is that in the end of the day, and that's what we're talking about, some people already have the money. So you just got to protect what you got.
Yeah.
But then it's those real entrepreneurs who value optimization people. Like, I see that next level. I see, and those are ones that get into that wealthy place, because you're going to stretch the norm and start doing things that others maybe see the problem, but are not willing to address the problem.
Yeah. And we talked the other week that everyone obviously doesn't have the same road to wealth, right? Some people have an entrepreneur path. Everybody don't have that path. You know, some person's vision, we have those that their vision is to be an amazing mom or amazing dad. Right. They don't want to be the next CEO of Apple or create, you know, a certain type of company. But what they do want to do, they want to save their money. They want to be good stewards of their resources, where they can take care of their families. And I think sometimes we have to be okay with saying that, you know, your vision, as Forrest said, is your vision.
Right.
It doesn't have to fit this Western model of, you know, exuberance and a bling. It doesn't have to be that. But if you can take care of your responsibilities on a consistent basis, then that may be some folks' level of success. I've had people just say to me, I want to take care of my responsibilities consistently, and I want to be healthy, and I want to be able to go rest when I want to rest, right? And so I want to be able to have the choices and options, right? And so I think it's okay for us to say that everybody's not on the fast track. Some people are on a whole another
Different
track.
thing.
Everybody's not a visionary, right?
Right.
And so some people live inside of other people's vision. And for those of us who are visionaries, we have a responsibility to start the company because we're creating ecosystems for other folks to find life.
That's right.
So it's just important for us to realize that.
The visionary creates the corporation for the guy or the lady whose path is to run the corporation, to be the CEO of the corporation, to be head of marketing of the corporation.
I like that. And you know what,
Forrest, I will say one thing, and we can talk about it more when we come back, is that I've been having a lot of debates with people that you create real wealth by ownership. So those very seldom do you see someone on top of Forbes list that don't own anything. A job gives you the ability to be rich,
right?
But ownership, even when you take it the fact that when you buy stock, you're buying ownership in a company.
Correct.
So when you're talking about building wealth, you have to have some ownership model to build wealth. You can be rich, but if we're talking about this article, which we started with, is talking about being wealthy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has to be done to build wealth, you got to own something.
All right, folks, on that note, when we get back, we're going to try to help you own something because we're going to break down the steps to showing you how to achieve your financial goals and live that vision. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
My business. 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 My
Hey guys, welcome back to the Finance Squad. When we left off, these guys were getting in my business, but we're back now. So now we're about to get in your business. So the question I have for you guys is, what are the steps to breaking down the goal so it is achievable? I think a lot of people are missing that. So what's your perspective on that? Mordecai, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, there's a principle that we like to teach, and it's called the principle of, and it might sound big, but it's really small, aggregation of marginal gains. The principle of aggregation of marginal gains, which basically says, if you look at everything that goes into a process, right? Like, so in the morning you get up, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, whatever that process is, if you could increase each activity by 1% a day, you will be better than 90% of the people with that same skill. This is a very important principle as it relates to getting your financial house together and moving to the next level. A lot of times we're looking for more money, but what we need is just more discipline, consistent, small aggregation of marginal gains. You can Google and do whatever, but think about it. So if it's saving, if I could just get 1% better, which means I pull back from Starbucks, right? if I could get 1% better in knowing what's in my account, right? How I actually look at, and manage my money throughout the day. Maybe I stop using my debit card, right? 3 days out of the week. Like, how can you get marginally better at the things necessary that feed into achieving your vision? If you can just do 1% a day, you're better than 90% of the people with that skill.
90%.
Yeah.
That seems achievable to me.
That's all I'm saying. 1%.
I'm gonna start brushing my teeth 1% more now.
Well, I think that's what's gonna happen.
Because I'm hoping they get 1% wider. Right?
I guarantee you, I'm telling you how this works. And I think we like to, promote like a get rich quick, and nothing comes quick. It is bit by bit, small by small, principle by principle. And you start with one thing and you build, and you start with one thing and you build. And so, one of the things we start with is just, first of all, you got to count your beans. What do you actually have? That's step one. What do you actually have? Before we talk about where you're going and what you want to achieve, where are you at right now? What do you actually have? And that's why we spend a lot of time about the budget. Where are you right now in terms of your resources? What do you actually have? What do you actually own? People say to me, well, I own a home. I say, oh, well, congratulations, you paid off your mortgage. Oh, no, I still got a mortgage. Oh, well, you don't own that house. You don't own that, right? And so, like, what do you actually own, right? And so maybe that's the goal, to say, I want to start, owning. So what do you want to own, and is it worth owning, right? And so that's a conversation that needs to be had with someone who's down the road, who has more wisdom and experience, and can help people really lay out what's the first thing you need to do, and how do you build out from there. You can't decide that on your own. That needs to be decided in the safety of counseling, and one of these guys that are on here. So that's my perspective on it, is the law of aggregation of marginal gains.
That's good. That's really good, Mordecai. I'm going to simplify it a little bit, though, from a practical perspective. So I would tell a client to write down on paper what it is they would like to accomplish. Now I'm talking about your dreams. I'm talking about your visions. I'm not talking about goals. I'm talking about what it is you want to accomplish. And again, we tend to get these things confused. My vision and my dreams, I get that confused with the goals. I'm talking about what it is. If you could write out what your life's going to look like in 10 years, put it down in words of what that looks like. And they do that. Okay. Now we need action items. Let's break these things. So you have a paragraph. Embedded in that paragraph might be 2, 3, 4, 5 different things. Let's break those things out. Now let's assign action items to each one of those things to make those things a reality. What do I need to do to make this vision come true? Those things that you are doing to make that vision come true, those are the actual goals. And those goals have to be one thing and one thing for sure. Goals have to be a number of things, 3 or 4 ideals and concepts, but specifically, it has to be attainable. Can you achieve this? Is this something I can do? And then once you determine, yes, this is something I'm capable of doing, I have the knowledge or the skill set to make this thing happen, then like Mordecai said, bit by bit, you start moving in that direction to bring that goal to pass. It's like climbing a ladder, right? It's one rung on the ladder at a time. And as you navigate these rungs, eventually you're going to find yourself at the top. At the top of that ladder is where your dreams and visions lie. Now you're living your dream life.
Okay.
My mentor
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do I'm gonna try to bring it all together from earlier sessions to now. Is simply as this. Okay, we're at certain age, and people around our age say they want to retire in 10 to 15 years. Realistically. So, being that you want to retire, you have to now start setting goals in place. one of the things that you have to do to help you kind of achieve your goals is set a budget. See how all that ties in? You have to, now we're kind of, you got to put some feet to the vision or the dream. Because some people say, I want to retire. Let's use the number 60. I want to retire at 60. Then you got to set some goals in place to achieve your vision or dream. So, and then it becomes more real. Like once you put the target, I mean, Forrest, once somebody sits down and says, I want to retire, my time horizon is 60, and I want to live a lifestyle where I'm able to maintain what I currently live at, then you put all that into whatever software you use, and it tells you, in order to achieve this, you got to start putting this away each year.
Correct.
So then the goals becomes, man, where am I cut back? I got to cut back this amount out of my budget. I got to have this saved. So I got to put more into my retirement account. I need to maybe, unfortunately, based on your age, I may need to be more aggressive to try to reach some of my goals, understanding that the flip side of that is if I'm aggressive, I may not reach my goal because the market could be potentially down at the time that I need to at the time I want to achieve my dream. But I think what we're talking about from a financial perspective, which we're on here to do, is most people's goals are to retire at a certain lifestyle at a certain date. And so if the listener is on this podcast listening today, then you now got to put goals in place that aligns with your visions and your dreams.
I think that's key, Santana. One of the things that I find, and you all can speak to this, is this accountability. Is that people set up a lot of great goals, they have a wonderful vision, but they're not accountable, right? Like, what does that accountability look like? Because it is not easy, the journey. A lot of people are not used to telling themselves no. And it's hard to tell yourself no at 50 when you have never told yourself no at all.
Stop talking to me, Mordecai. Okay,
I'm gonna talk to Santana and Forrest. So some people, let's just be real about it. They're not used to hearing no. They have preset their spirit for yes. And so you got this vision. So for me, one of the things that I really, really have been pondering is this whole thing of accountability. Because at some point, somebody's going to be accountable for your actions.
So watch this, Mordecai.
The children going to have to take care of you.
Oh boy, you're talking now.
Something's going to happen, but
so watch this, man.
What I'm saying. So let's break that out right quick. We got a few minutes. I just want to talk about how do we become more accountable to these goals.
Which is my next quick question, guys, because we don't have that long. And this is the thing that all of you mentioned, which is so important. What steps do you recommend someone take to get someone on board with their financial goals when the other person is differing? That means they're not even in the spectrum. You're married to this person, you're in a relationship with this person, and they're not even on board. How do you what do you guys recommend? Because we know that it's two things that can put people in divorce: sex and money.
That's a new one.
That
sounds like Christine.
That's 5 F's of love right there.
They say 5 F's.
Y'all better get my compatibility app and download it. Stop playing. See what y'all top 5 F's are.
Yeah, that one there is a different show. I'm still gonna say so. Ideally, you will answer some of these questions before you get married, like premarital counseling.
But what if you are married?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people are married right now and they're still on 2 different spectrums. And one person's like, I'm ready to do something different or get our finances together. How do you even have that conversation?
But counseling will work for that also. And a lot of times that's where you have to go. But that's part of the accountability. So 20 years ago, my wife and I sought the advice of a counselor, our pastor. We were having some issues. And ironically, some of those issues were financial. Well, we were on separate sheets of music. We weren't reading from the same page. Through the counseling process, we got on the same page. And that was give and take on both sides. I wanted to rip and roar and run right through it. My risk tolerance was a lot higher than hers, that she wasn't comfortable doing that. So there was a lot of give and take. Now, between us, I'm going to say I gave more, but I'm sure she is. Yeah. But there was a lot of give and take, and we had to structure things in a way where, listen, I use a term called a sleep index. Whatever I'm doing, does it keep me awake at night? And if it does, then I need to reevaluate what I'm doing because it violates my sleep index. So there were a lot of things that we had to alter, shift, and change so we could both find ourselves resting properly at night so we can get up in the morning and attack the same thing all over again. What Mordecai was talking about earlier, an accountability partner, and Santana's comment about goals. Goals are an action word, right? They got to have legs on them. So the action items attached to the goals to make the goal bring my dream to my reality is where the accountability partner comes in. Are you doing the things that you said you wanted to do? I'm a financial advisor. My clients come to me and they solicit my help to do a financial plan. Really, all I'm doing is holding them accountable to what they told me they wanted to do.
Your financial coach at the end of the day is like going to the gym, and that's what I tell people. Like,
I feel more like a therapist some days than I do like a financial professional. I'm just holding you accountable to what you told me you wanted to do.
That's all it is.
I'm not accountable for you. I'm accountable to you. You said you wanted to do this. Now, if you changed your mind, let me know so we can readjust the plan. That's fine. You can change your mind. That's fine.
So for this is just so good. I mean, like we always teach with a married couple that's not on the same page. There are 4 ways that you deal with conflict, and they're at the 3rd phase, which is compete. When people compete, they believe that the other person does not understand their vision.
Yeah.
And so I'm not submitting my vision to your vision because I don't feel like you respect my vision. So when couples can't come together, it is they've not really sat down and thought about how they actually are seeing the same destination from 2 different perspectives. And so they can't collaborate because they have trained the relationship that we just compete. And so one of the things that we help couples understand is that when you start seeing yourself on the same team, you're going to start winning at a whole another level.
Wow.
And so that is just it's like part of that marginal gains. You're gonna have wins that you never thought about. You're gonna start seeing doors open, opportunities. And so for people who are out there listening, what I say is don't let your partner hinder you from doing the right thing. So whatever you got control over, you start with that. You don't go, well, I can't get my husband on the same page, so we just both gonna be reckless. You both gonna be homeless. So you gotta start with what you have control over and use that as a testimony. Because watch this, there is a thing called veracious truth. There is authority that is released when you have truth. And so a lot of times we don't have no power because we don't got no true testimony. So I tell that person, if your mate not willing to get on board, you get on board. You do the budget. You do this. You do this. And watch what happened after about a year. When your stuff is piling up, you can walk in and say, baby, look what I did. And then if you got the right heart, you seed into the other person's vision.
The elders call that.
Let me jump in because I think I'm probably going to get the last 5 minutes of the show on this.
We're going to take the last 5 minutes.
So when I realized I wanted to be an entrepreneur at 25, 26 years old, and this is for the 5 F's. I was single and I understood that I couldn't manage pursuing my vision while also trying to answer to a mate. I understood. I was not built. No, I'm gonna have real talk. I understood that I don't want to hear why you taking that money, putting it here. Because I'm talking about when you walk out and you may at single, I can spend my last and deal with the consequences.
And deal with the
consequences. See, when you have a mate, you have the responsibility of answering to another person.
Yes.
And my responsibility was I was going to put the pressure on God. Because you may also be pursuing faith while your partner doesn't have the level of faith that you have. And so you're carrying their lack of faith with your lack of resources.
There you go.
And that's a level of stress, like you said, you're sleeping. index. I wanted to be able to go to sleep knowing that I'm happy pursuing my vision that God has given me, and I don't have to answer to anyone. And so once he got me to that point, I will admit that having a partner, he released another level of resources.
You know what, Mordecai, really? You got to do the whole dance?
Here's the point. It didn't put the stress on the relationship.
Nope.
Right.
So while some people, and I can go down the street and say it, and I know that to be true, while some marriages have scars of finances, we don't have scars of finance. Because I was willing to discipline myself as a man and still live a life displeasing to God, and you can take that forever as what it's worth, and get to my desired destination. And then when it was time for the mate to jump on board, it was a smooth transition. See, a lot of times...
Well, I felt totally different. I didn't want to be a hoe out here in these streets. So what I decided so let's just be honest about it. I felt different. I said, if I get to your spot at that age, I don't want to get married. I've been out here wrecking my whole life. I ain't finna submit to nobody. I don't want nobody to. So I did it early. I said, look, I'm gonna build with somebody early, and that's that. So that's just how that's going. We all.
For me, my sleep index doesn't work well when broke is a part of the conversation.
Right.
And me and broke,
I can go to sleep
in the
and
same
broke.
area.
I can go to sleep. I'm talking about that's some of the broke sleep is good sleep, bro.
I don't want the testimony of we struggled and thugged it out and now we made it. No, I don't want that. I want that testimony. You can keep that. That wasn't testimony for me. I'm telling you what didn't work for me.
That wasn't my testimony either.
Hey,
oh my God.
And this is why I admire Santana, because I knew that was the path that he was taking. My path was, I knew if I waited, I wouldn't want a woman. I knew that I would be too selfish to submit. So I did it earlier because I know me. I'm not. Right. Why would I get married at 35, 40? I'm good.
But I studied cultures, and I started noticing a trend that a certain population of affluent men would marry young after they had achieved their personal financial goals. Then they would go back and address that matter.
So
Santana was on a different path. I found a woman that knocked my socks off. Yeah, my broke behind got married.
Yeah, I did too, and I slept good too, bro.
I realized about 5 years in that we had some financial problems, and that started to keep me awake. So I came to the Lord late.
Oh my God!
After I got married, and said,
"Father, I didn't come to the Lord worn, wounded, and saying."
Oh no! I came to him like, Father, I came to him and said, Father, without your help, we ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna need your help, but we ain't gonna make it.
I just want to say,
I knew this would be a closing conversation. I knew this would be
you guys are
couples here. They this last 5 minutes on couples.
It's not even 5 minutes. It's not even 5 minutes left. So, folks, if you're just now starting this podcast and watching us, I want to be clear that Mordecai and Santana have known each other since elementary school. Okay? So what you're looking at is two kids rivaling right here, live. And basically,
get out of my sandbox.
Like, I can be broke and sleep. And Santana said, I can't be sleep and broke.
No.
That broke sleep is some good sleep. Because look, that sometimes that's your resource. Is your
Hey, we were roommates. Sophomore year in college too.
Huh?
We were roommates sophomore year in college. So Christine, when the lights got turned off in college, you like the fact that I knew how to have some finances.
That's all about partnering. You got to know who in your circle. He turned the lights on. I ain't ashamed about that. I'm not ashamed. He turned the lights on and we kept rolling. We rocking. And look
the beauty to all of this later,
is we on the podcast.
We
on the 5 F's of love. Don't be playing.
Here's the beauty to all this. Whether you take Santana's path, and
Right.
you get your finances in order, and then you find your mate, or you take mine and Mordecai's path. You find your mate and struggle through the finances, and the Lord pulls you out later. At the end of the day, we all on the 5 F's. We all on the 5 F's.
You know, I'm since I have a pastor on the phone, the Bible says in Deuteronomy or whatever, it says a man should not get married unless his crop can produce enough for the family. Isn't that in the book?
It's
Well,
that.
listen, if you put everybody on a fast, you don't need to produce a whole lot. You don't hear what I'm saying. Everybody ain't got to eat every day, 3 meals a day. That ain't nowhere in the book. If you eat one good meal, have a can of beans, then I'm in the scripture. So I don't know what y'all talking about in that 5 F's.
I said in the book.
You got to bring us back on the
you
relationship.
You need to make sure you can take care of family before you get
So here's the deal, Santana. I wanted to stop living in sin, so I had to get married. I wasn't thinking about food.
It's better to marry than to burn. Y'all straight old school.
I can't.
You're all Pentecostal.
I just want to say, these guys, regardless if you're joining us right now in this moment at the beginning, these guys are financial gurus. But the reality of it is, they're all real people. So I want to say this is the best birthday present I could have gotten, is laughing with y'all right now in this moment. You guys are hilarious. And let me just say this. You had Santana and Mordecai who've been friends since elementary school. And obviously, when you have a friend that's so focused on finances, it's no way that they're going to leave you while they're building. And so that's one of the things I want you guys to understand. Mordecai then hooked up with Forrest. Obviously, they both live life through the same path. Unlike Santana, he followed the Bible. Santana, I'm with you. Okay, I just want to be clear. I can't be broke and be with a brother. Okay, but the thing is that regardless of how all three of these financial experts connected, the bottom line is, folks, is that they actually talk offline to one another all the time and talk about different things that they're doing professionally and personally. They hold one another accountable and they support one another as they're going through the process of building their business or fleshing out ideas and concepts. So the moral to this situation right here is that you need to understand, in order to get your money right, your mindset has to be right. You have to surround yourself with people who are on the same path as you are, or trying or attempting to align themselves to that type of path. And if you don't, all you need to do is watch the Finance Squad. We can be your accountability partners. We can be your posse. You can roll with us. Next week, this show is going to be even better.
Hey, Christine, I will say, this is one thing I'm going to say that was interesting. When I was living in Atlanta and I was like, hey, man, I think I'm going to give my life to Christ or something. And I called Sean. He was the only person I knew that was. Sean gave me one sage advice. He said, regardless of what you do, just show up to church on Sunday. And I
just want to be clear.
I mean, I was 27 years old. And
Mordecai and Sean. And Mordecai is the minister who got married because he didn't want to be in the streets. And Santana is not the minister who waited to get married. So I want to be clear.
Santana low-key. Right, Santana is the low-key bishop on the podcast.
Exactly. See, that's the thing. Santana's a low-key bishop, and then Forrest is a deacon. So
hey. I remember that. I mean, I just thought about it. I just kept saying, regardless of what happens Saturday night, just show up on Sunday.
Just show up. I say, bro, just show up.
Just show up. He didn't get deep. He said, just show up, man. And I just kept that, and you keep showing up, you get the right habits. As we talked about how do you become wealthy, having good habits. I got used to showing up. Well, and I got to try to climb when I showed up. Yeah. so
that same mentality will work in your financial life too, as you work through these dreams, visions, and goals. Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. Just keep coming at them. Keep showing up.
Chopping wood, keep chopping wood. Keep chopping wood, and you'll get better.
You heard it from them. The Finance Squad, keep showing up. And you can always find us here on our YouTube channel for the 5 F's to Love. You can watch us anytime, all the time, repeat us, and share to your friends and family. We'll see you guys next week on the Finance Squad.